If you've been thinking about getting serious with your money, like actually serious, now's the time. The Motley Fool is offering new members 50% off their iconic stock recommendation service, Stock Advisor. This is the same service that's crushed the market with recommendations that have returned 1,057% since inception, compared to the S&P 500's 180% over that same period. This isn't guesswork. The Motley Fool has a track record of finding companies before they become household names. So if you want to invest smarter and you like saving money while doing it, go to fool.com/listen to claim your 50% off discount off a 1-year term of Stock Advisor. Again, that's fool.com/listen. Returns of 1,057% are from the Motley Fool's product Stock Advisor and measured against S&P 500 returns of 180% as of July 10th, 2025. Past performance is not an indicator of future results. All investing involves a risk of loss. Individual investment results may vary.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed, lab-proven to work fast, and proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Did you grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV. They're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or nothing, got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Comics, games, movies, music, and TV. They're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or nothing, got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. ThisWeekInGeek. ThisWeekInGeek.
Well, hello, and welcome back to another show. We are actually starting a little bit later than we expected, about a week or so, because in my particular case, Alex, the producer here, I had to help my mom out a little longer after her knee replacement surgery took place later than she had initially expected. That ended up leading to scheduling issues when it came to some of the reviews that I was working on, and Birdman as well having some health things to do, and also finishing up some other odd jobs that he had before we really got back to the thick of things, which as of this recording, we are starting up full production again, just again, a week or so later. So he has a bunch of reviews that he had already recorded for a previous review show and to get the regular show off the ground running again. And I had a whole bunch that, I had already either pre-recorded or, wanted to do a roundup of it. So in this show, we're going to round up the last bit of the summer movies that we received at the end of the break when we were coming back. I've got basically all of them I'm going to put into one segment where we're going to do quick, I would say first impression or quick reviews, nothing super crazy in depth, as we want to make sure that these reviews come out, as well as the fact that some of the movies have already been released and some are, coming out in a timely fashion that way. I have a bunch of games that I've been working on, longer form games that take a lot of time to beat. So in some cases, they're going to be staggered out a little bit. In some cases, I'm trying to get some of the indie and smaller titles out and talked about. And we've got some other accessories and stuff to talk about here. So we're going to get sort of right into it. We're going to catch up with everybody's review items from the last, 3 weeks or so. And then I'll come back at the end, discuss what our program is going to be like now that we're back in full production, because we should have, be back to our regular schedule of 1 to 2 shows per week, plus the extras that we recorded. So without further ado, I'm going to send it over either to myself. I think I'll do that. I'll start off with the roundup of all the different movies. So we'll be back at the end to discuss what's up with This Week in Geek, and as we roll on towards the inevitable holiday gift guide and our winter coverage, that's for sure. So we'll be back right after this. Alex, the producer here, and this is the final summer roundup, or at least final summer movie roundup that we're going to be talking about. This is all of the movies that have come in while we were finishing up our summer break, which would be the last week or two of August, moving into September for the first couple weeks of September that we've had a chance to review. And a bunch sort of came in all at once, so that's why we're sort of putting this all together. Otherwise, we would have separated them with individual releases. But now that we're back to our regular weekly programming, you'll start seeing more stuff spread out where we do, 1 or 2 titles a week that way. But as it stands now, I was trying to figure out exactly how to sort of put everything together. And the best way to do that here is just to do some quick reviews and quick discussions on some of the stuff that was released that I've watched. Not going to get too heavy into plots for each one, just mostly going over what the features are, whether I thought they'd look good, and whether or not I recommend them. I might go into a little more detail with some than others, but as it stands, I'm going to try to break it up a little bit here by like studio label or publisher. So at least for the beginning part here, I'm just going to talk very briefly about some of the stuff that we received from Paramount. Now, Paramount sent over 1923 Season 2 on Blu-ray, as well as the newest season of NCIS, that's NCIS, the 22nd season, as well as Watson Season 1, which is one of their new shows. Briefly talk about Watson. Obviously, you know that it's a new interpretation of Sherlock Holmes as John Watson. And this is on DVD, which at this point, CBS, DVD, and Paramount are pretty much one of the only companies that are putting out DVD shows in the regular. And I can say this, it's obviously better than if you watched it broadcast. Even though it's on DVD and not HD, it does contain just pretty good black levels. It is in widescreen, 5.1 surround. The trade-off with not going HD with this is that you still end up with a cleaner picture than a lot of times when you get things broadcast on TV. If you're watching it on TV or in streaming, you end up with artifacting, especially now that everything's digital that way. So I would say it's pretty solid for a new show. It's your procedural, obviously, but it has good acting in it. As far as special features are concerned, this does have a couple. It's got a couple behind the scenes and a gag reel, as well as some deleted scenes. It's nothing major, but it is a pretty solid, if not fairly bare bones release. If you're a fan of the show or you're looking to pick up something, I guess, mom or dad, it's one of those kind of shows. And the same goes for NCIS season 22 on DVD. This is a show that I actually actively watch pretty much. It's one of those shows that I have on in the background when I'm doing other things too, and then I pop up whenever anything cool happens. It's one of those comforty type shows for me, and this is again fairly bare bones release. It does have some behind the scenes features, as well as a couple of individual segment scenes for it, but it's pretty straightforward. It's in its original aspect ratio, and it's again comfort food. This is still a good one to pick up if you're into the show. It's not something you're going to jump into from the the start and be like, this is not the season you should start your show with. Basically, you go back, watch the originals, and then pick up if you're a collector. And then we end on 1923. This is season 2 of that. The Helen Mirren, Harrison Ford show. This is one of the better shows, at least in top 5, that are being produced and shown on Paramount Plus. It is, I would say, one of the quintessential shows that service has. And what you get here is you get it in 1080p on Blu-ray. While the show streams at 4K, the bitrate is lower than what you get on the Blu-ray here. So the Blu-ray does actually look better. I've done some comparisons. And that in itself is a big plus. Plus, it's got Dolby lossless True HD surround on there, so you're getting way better quality audio than what you get if you're watching it on a streaming platform. As far as your special features are concerned, it includes a bunch of features: Darkness Cannot Hide, the Shroud of Winter, which is basically production design and costumes, which this show has in spades, as well as a bunch of other behind-the-scenes features. And there's a story, explanation, and description and behind-the-scenes for every single episode, which is greatly appreciated. So that's one to pick up if you've been waiting for it, you're waiting to own it on home video. It's definitely one to get. Now we have other releases from other companies. These are sort of a hodgepodge of different companies. And our friends over at 88 Films sent The Cat. Now this is, it's interesting horror. It's Region AB, as pretty much everything that Fortune Star and 88 Films put out. It's in a pretty sort of premium slipcover box cover for it. Now this limited edition has artwork created for it, a 40-page perfect bound book inside. That's why it's thicker overall on the creation of it. You've got brand new, really good quality restoration on the actual film scan. It has the original remastered Cantonese monaural soundtrack. There's newly translated English subtitles that match it quite well. There's audio commentaries included here, reversible slip covers. It's just overall a really solid release, and it's got a ton of really good like rubberized special effects from before CGI was around. And it's kind of like a horror film mixed with sci-fi, mixed with, gore slash, I don't want to spoil too much. It's actually a really good movie that I'd never heard of before, and is definitely well worth your time if you're a fan of international horror sci-fi films. We've also got from our friends over at Neon, The Life of Chuck. Now, this is the Tom Hiddleston movie, and it's not... It's interesting in that it's based on a short story by Stephen King. So usually when you think that, what do you think of? You think of horror or suspense and thriller. That's not what this really is. This is, if you're unaware, it's more of being in line with the stories and pictures that he's done that are usually he did under like pseudonyms in the past. But essentially it's about the exploration of, I guess, like the wonder of love, heartbreak, and just the different connections and relationships people have in between. That's the best way to describe it. It's got a bunch of features on here. It's a pretty solid release. It is rated R if you're worried about it, but that's mostly just for language. Good set if you're a fan of any of the actors, just want to get a good watch. We've also got Bride Hard. This was provided to us by, who is the publisher on this one? Or who is it? That's right. Magenta Light. That's what it was. I was trying to figure out because I was like, I thought it was like Warner, but it's WME Independent, so it's being published by them, but it's pressed by that other company there. So this one was one of the films that I remember went to theaters, but it was out super quick because I think it just was timing. It's fine. I think this is going to be a case of you have to like the stars of this picture. You've got Rebel Wilson, and just you kind of have to know what you're going in for with it. It wasn't for me, but I can see why some people would like it. That I would say one of the other critics on the back of the box actually describes it as a mashup of Bridesmaids and Die Hard, and yeah, it's a little goofy. It's got the wackiness involved, but I do think it's probably worth a watch. And if you're a big fan of any of the people involved in it, then obviously pick it up for your collection. We've also got some movies here. One of them which is called The Trouble with Jessica. That is from our friends over at Music Box Films. This is a DVD. Now, in this DVD, you have a couple of extra features, but first of all, the basic premise of this is the main character's name is Sarah, and Sarah is I guess, about to lose everything and trying to find somebody to buy their home. And it's just sort of a slice of life relationship issue movie. That's the best way to put it. Now, there is features on here that are for the making of, as well as some trailers. There's an image gallery. It's pretty standard stuff. It is a 90-minute movie. Now, it's a DVD. I do think that in this case, the DVD kind of suffers a little bit in the visual.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed, lab-proven to work fast, and proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
If you've been thinking about getting serious with your money, like actually serious, now's the time. The Motley Fool is offering new members 50% off their iconic stock recommendation service, Stock Advisor. This is the same service that's crushed the market with recommendations that have returned 1,057% since inception, compared to the S&P 500's 180% over that same period. This isn't guesswork. The Motley Fool has a track record of finding companies before they become household names. So if you want to invest smarter and you like saving money while doing it, go to Fool.com/listen to claim your 50% off discount off a 1-year term of Stock Advisor. Again, that's Fool.com/listen. Returns of 1,057% are from the Motley Fool's product Stock Advisor and measured against S&P 500 returns of 180% as of July 10th, 2025. Past performance is not an indicator of future results. All investing involves a risk of loss. Individual investment results may vary.
Department, because it is in CinemaScope, it's 2.4 to 1, which even anamorphic, watching this on a big screen TV, you know, you're taking 480i and then you're only getting about a third of the picture, a third of the vertical picture of that. So it's doing its best to blow it up to watch. It's the kind of thing that's best watched. If you're going to watch a DVD in the scope, you're going to want to watch it like a portable TV player or on a smaller TV or at a laptop. So if you've got a laptop with like a 15-inch screen or something to watch it on, that's an okay resolution for that as it is. As it stands, visual quality wise, I'm not even sure if this has a Blu-ray, but if it does, it's more worth searching out that. But otherwise, it's a pretty solid picture, 5.1 audio. It's a straightforward, it's going to be one of those, I think, indie darlings that people are going to like, but it's not going to be for everybody, that's for sure. We have also got, from Music Box Films, Just the Two of Us, which is a thriller. Now, this was an official selection a couple of years back at the Cannes Film Festival, and this was actually pretty good. So the character's name in this is Blanche, and she meets another character at a party. They have a pretty electrifying relationship at the start, and then things happen. There's the best way to start it. But I'll say this, this is also on a DVD, and this is in 1:6:6 to 1. It's actually in that sort of weird British, like instead of like matte or the standard 1:8:5 to 1 ratio that you see in most American movies. This is actually 1:6:6, which is like the British style. And this is actually a French picture, which to some people that might be a little too much to handle, but the subtitles are easy to read. And being Canadian, even though I don't fluently speak French, I've seen enough on TV in that for me, hearing French and then seeing the subtitles, it goes hand in hand. It's not that difficult to follow. I do think it's a solid release. It also has commentary included. There's director's interview. There's theatrical trailers and image gallery. That's definitely one to keep an eye on. Check it out if you're interested in it. And we've also got, from our friends over at the Criterion Collection, a couple of pictures to look at here. Now, the first one here is Misericordia, which is one hard word to read and say, but this is a film by Alain Guéridal, and this is one of the releases from the Criterion Premieres, which is where they take new theatrical pictures and they release with the Criterion Channel Presents. So it's one of those things where they sort of helped get it distributed to begin with. So this is a movie from 2024. It's about just over an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes or so. Surround sound, it's also in French with English subtitles, but this is a Blu-ray, so even though it's in scope, it looks pristine and great on a big screen TV. It has a Meet the Filmmakers feature on here, which is a Criterion Channel original interview. So what they've done is, this is one of those things that premiered, on their channel, on their service, with the features included. And what they've done is they've taken that, packaged it, put it on a Blu-ray, which in itself is higher quality than you would receive on a broadcast or on a stream. So that is greatly appreciated. So this is another thriller, lots of secrets, lots of lies. It is about somebody who returns to their rural home, and lust and craziness and the stuff that you kind of expect from French pictures. That's the best way to describe it there. Worth watching, especially if you're into foreign films, as well as this is sort of their bigger release right now that I'm going to talk about. The second release we have here from Criterion Collection, and that is Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch. This is a director approved 4K Blu-ray disc with Blu-ray combo. It comes in a cardboard slip box, and this is always, whenever a new Wes movie comes out, you pretty much know Criterion puts it out. He's sort of like a darling of theirs, obviously, and I have been on the fence about a lot of his pictures, and that's mostly because you either really, really get his movies or you really, really don't. And I found that some of his earliest stuff I really, really get, and some of his later stuff I've sort of been head scratching and been like, I don't know, man, I'm not sure. But I don't need to really go into details of the picture itself, because I think if you're listening to this, if you're even considering picking this up, you've already seen it in theaters, probably multiple times, maybe streamed it, and you're just like, had your fingers crossed this whole time waiting to see, did they hit it out of the park again or not when it comes to the release. And I can say it looks fantastic. It's quite obvious. It's a brand new 4K digital master supervised by Wes Anderson. You end up with a 5.1 lossless surround track as expected. Now there's one 4K disc with the film, and it's presented with Dolby Vision HDR, and one Blu-ray with all the special features. The 4K disc, I can say, has one of the best mastering jobs I've seen, with the best tone mapping for even me, where I have a television that does, I would say, pretty good when it comes to HDR, but it's just HDR normal, HDR 10. And then I have a TV that technically does Dolby Vision, but it's one of those like barely hits Dolby Vision quality. It's like just entry-level Dolby Vision, and sometimes that can present itself as not having the best tone mapping, or at least not as intended by the producers of films. And I can say that this one mapped quite well. It handled everything in this. It could have to do with many factors. A lot of it is like the cinematography and the director of photography and everything. But I can say it looked great. It's one of the best looking discs, at least even on my meager sets, which I would say are just entry level for what they are. It also comes with a plethora of behind-the-scenes features, audio commentaries, storyboard animatics. What else did I think? What else was in here? Music videos. There's interviews with artists that are involved with the design. There is trailers, subtitles. There's essays, as you'd expect from anything with the Criterion Collection. And it does include every aspect ratio, like, because a lot of his movies now are doing this thing where they switch in between. So you have 1:37:1, which is actually the old school Hollywood full screen before television. Television's 1:33. This is the 1:37. So like, this is Hollywood full screen from before 1954. And then it will shift to 1:85 and then to 2.4:1. It's all seamless. It's all pretty darn good. It looks fantastic. It is region A coded, so you are going to have to, play it in region A, but that's for the Blu-ray. Remember, the 4K discs are always region free. So even if you're somebody, not in Canada or the States or Japan, you're picking this up, you may not be able to, depending if you don't have a region free player, you may or may not be able to actually play the Blu-ray of it with the special features. So keep that in mind if you're outside of these regions, but you will always be able to play the 4K disc if you have a 4K player. So if your concern is getting it the highest quality option and then you're not and you're worried maybe, I can't watch the special features, don't worry, you'll still at least be able to watch the movie. Fantastic. It's one of his better movies. I actually quite enjoyed it comparatively to some of the other stuff. So I'm happy with that. And that leaves us with our last couple of releases to talk about. And they are from our friends over at A24. And what they have done is they have sent 2 releases of their newest movies. We got The Materialists, which I wasn't really sure if I was going to like, because I'm not a big fan of Dakota Johnson. I don't know if I've mentioned it necessarily on air, but in our like podcast recording group friends and that, I've mentioned that I just do not like. And this was one of those cases where, fine, Pedro Pascal's great in it. Chris Evans, this is one of those pictures where I think it's going to be polarizing. You either are going to really like it or probably not so much like it. I'm sort of somebody that's on the fence. Aspects of it I did like, aspects of it I didn't care for. I think this is something you're going to have to watch before you decide if you're going to buy. So maybe stream it first, and if you're a fan of it, this is a pretty good set. The Blu-ray does have the proper aspect ratio, obviously, and it does have a Dolby Atmos audio track, which is good. There are English subtitles. There's, as far as any other features are concerned, it comes with a good cardboard slipcase box. There are... let me think here. There are a bunch of little features. There is a filmmaker commentary. There is a featurette on the making of. There is a composer deep dive, and then little 6 collectible postcards from behind the scenes stuff, which is something we've seen actually in some of the previous releases over the summer from them. A24 is releasing their Blu-rays in a sort of uniform cardboard slipcover box set where you can always tell when they're on the shelf whether they're A24 or not. And that brings us to the last release, and that's Bring Her Back. Horror film that I wanted to see in theaters, and I just didn't get a chance to. I just didn't have the time to go. But basically, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I probably would have been too intense for me in theaters. But at home, where I can watch it at my own pace and my TV, and I can pause it if I get too disturbed, I can say this, it's not necessarily what I was expecting, but here's the basic premise. I'll read it from the back because I don't want to spoil anything. And it's, in the wake of family tragedy, siblings Andy and Piper are sent to live with their new foster mother, Laura, and a troubled orphan, Oliver. But as their new caretaker's sunny disposition begins to crack and the siblings unravel the truth about Oliver's disturbing behavior, they are forced to contend with a terrifying ritual that puts their own bond to the test. So it's not necessarily what you'd think based on the poster, but it is well worth a watch. I actually had a really good time with this one. As far as what's included here, there is a director's commentary, a making of, and again, the 6 collectible postcards, and it also comes in that slipcover case. There is, it's presented in 2:1 aspect ratio, so it's sort of what you see a lot of the streaming TV shows do now. Dolby Atmos, and it is got a really good transfer overall. I do think that's going to be a hit with people. It might have flown under the radar of some because a lot of other thrillers and horrors and that sort of thing came out all around the exact same time. So I hope that people get a chance to watch that. And that's basically going to do it for our roundup of the movies that I received, at least during the last few weeks or so of summer and during our break. And I hope that there's something in here that, you know, piques your interest and that you're willing to check out. I'll have all the links for this in our show description, and we'll be back with probably more after this segment, reviews of movies and stuff from Birdman, and in the upcoming week or so, we'll have plenty more coming because I know we've got some more stuff coming in the mail, but that's it. I hope everybody at least found something interesting in there, and I'm going to send it off probably to Birdman, and then I will be back with more of my own reviews.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. Once again, our friends over at Ninja have sent over something really cool for us to take a look at, and this is going to be the Ninja Essentials Ceramic 12-piece cookware set. It's that time of year. You're probably moving into your first dorm, could be your first apartment, or hey, maybe it's time to replace that cookware set that...
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wonderside's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wonderside.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wonderside.com. Wonderside. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wonderside today.
Abused or put together from going down to the Salvation Army or something. So what this is the every essential piece of cookware you could possibly need. It comes with 2 sizes of frying pans, 2 sauce pots with lids, a large stock style pot with a lid, and a saute pan with a lid. And also included are 2 very durable cooking utensils. It also has this ceramic lock coating, which provides 5 years of non-stick performance. While traditional ceramic pans can wear out in as little as about a year or so, the unique durable design is oven safe for up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, easily wipes clean, and is dishwasher safe. This is a true upgrade to our old cookware set that wasn't non-stick and had, well, really taking a beating since we got this as a wedding gift 14 years ago. My wife was really thrilled when she got this. She's like, oh my God, Michael, thank God you replaced this finally. It's kind of cool how Ninja offers a 5-year guarantee on this because as you learn to cook and experiment with stuff, this is stuff that's probably going to stand the test of time, especially if you're testing all these viral things from TikTok or YouTube and whatnot. Not going to lie, this is a very nice cookware set. I was actually very surprised when Ninja sent this over. So if you're looking to invest in something that'll make your dorm or your first apartment have a really nice cookingware set, and you aspire to be your very own version of Chef Ramsay, then you know what? Not too bad. So you're definitely going to want to check out the Ninja Essential Ceramic 12-piece cookware set. You're going to make the cook in your unit, family, your partner, or your roommate, you're going to make them very happy when you upgrade to this. Once again, that is the Ninja Essential Ceramic 12-piece cookware set. Big thanks to Ninja for sending this over.
Alex, the producer here, with just a quick review of Lost Soul Aside. Our friends over at Sony Interactive Entertainment Canada sent us a review code for PlayStation 5 to check out. I know this has been talked about by other people online. It's been kind of meme-ified a little bit when it comes to some of the wonky cutscenes and voice acting. And, you know, it's all funny to make little jokes like that because it sort of gives the feeling of like the bygone era of almost like the late 90s, early 2000s when it came to some of the localizations and some of the animations that were done. But you have to keep in mind that this originally started out as a solo project, and almost like, if I remember correctly, I think the solo creator of this initially, before they built up a team when Sony put some financing into it, was inspired by what was shown with, what was it, Final Fantasy 13 Versus, I think, before they scrapped that project at Square Enix, and like just some of the ideas behind it. And this person was like, hey, I can kind of make my own Final Fantasy style of game, with that action aspect and everything. And, it took a long time. It's in many ways a very pretty game. There's many hiccups and stuff that, again, in my mind, kind of adds to the charm, because it makes me feel like I'm in my late teens, early 20s again, and it's like we're talking like right when like the PlayStation 3 was coming out, that sort of era. That's making me feel like that again. So you know what? I enjoy games like this that go for it, where maybe the team itself isn't as polished or as refined as you'd think, and then when they get the voice acting, and like, it would almost feel more jarring if the voice acting was at a certain AAA level. When the presentation for the cutscenes isn't there, it would be a mismatch. This almost feels great. I'm not going to memify anything. We're not going to do any of that, because there's been plenty of that online. There has been performance issues before, and one of the reasons why this review took longer to come out was every time I was playing it, it felt like, I was sort of juggling other reviews and stuff too, but every time I would go to play the game, it was like every few days there was another patch, another update that was fixing things. This team is working diligently, and it's like every 4 or 5 days, there is a new patch that dramatically changes a significant section of it and fixing issues and performance. And I feel like if I were to do this review in another, few weeks, it would be a completely different experience again. So just know that when it comes to the performance of the game and just little bugs and fixes and tweaks and that it's going to constantly be updated. So you can pick it up now and be fully confident that any quirks or hiccups you might have with it are probably going to be addressed. And at the same time, I kind of would recommend that you pick it up now, because don't wait. Some people say, I'll just wait till all the bug fixes are done. Well, this is the kind of project that doesn't have the resources to let people wait, right? This is something where the more people that buy it, the more money that will go into it, that they'll be able to do the thing. So you're in a catch-22, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I do think that there's a lot of fun to be had here. As far as the combat is concerned, the whole atmosphere, the feeling of it, it's a pretty fun game. It's like a AA game wrapped up in a AAA sheen, if that makes any sense. And outside of the audio hiccups when it comes to some of the voice direction and some of the script writing, which obviously this is not a case of a native English speaker was the, person writing the script. It's been adapted. Again, it feels like something out of time. It doesn't feel like a 2025 game. It feels like a 2005 game. And in that aspect, I think it's great. And well worth picking up to play. I can't say how it will play necessarily on everybody's experience, but I can say that it works well enough for me. I'm having a good time with it. If you're really unsure, maybe wait for a sale. But as it stands, I do think it's a fun game and well worth your time. And if you're a fan of anime the game, if that's a good way to describe it, then I think you're going to have a pretty good time with Lost Soul Aside. NIS America sent over Cladon X3. This is a series that I had heard about in the past, but not actually had a chance to play. So when they offered a review code, I went, yeah, you know what? Let's check it out. This is an action RPG that is a very unique twist on things. It is a series that's run for I guess, what is it? At least over a decade now. It's just sort of in between releases. It's a pixel action RPG where you can basically customize everything. You choose from 6 different weapon types. There's a whole swath of jobs, nearly a dozen. I think there's 10 at least here, yeah. And you swap weapons jobs, recruit custom characters. Each job has different stats. You have different weapons, and there's just a lot of crazy stuff. It's you're trying to survive the dungeon. Things get crazy. As far as job classes go, you've got your warriors, your wizards, your rangers, your merchants. What is it? Saint, guardian, sword mage, ninja, dragoon, and shaman. Okay, so what you do is that you power up your main characters by placing sub-characters and artifacts into like this array that gives them boosts. So it's a little bit of like party item stat management that changing the arrangement changes how things work. It's really interesting. As far as other things, there's sub-characters that you place in your magic circle. And doing that, they will take damage instead of you. So there's a lot of like interesting ideas behind how you strategize getting through the dungeons. There are if-then conditions, so basically almost like programming logic. And so, for instance, if certain characters learn certain things, then the reaction would be that other things within the party can then get advantages of that. So there's like crossovers and weird combinations and different customizations you can do. It's wild. For instance, you can basically edit anything. So you can like edit your weapons. You can make weapons from scratch. And that's like designing the colors and shapes and looks, and it is wild, son. There are music editing. You can make your own music for the game with its own built-in editor. Part of me, but fucking wild. You can edit the towns and maps, and it's hard to describe. It's like, what if you were given a game, and then you're like, you know what? The game isn't going the way I want. I'm gonna friggin' alter the game myself. And it gave you all the tools to do so. So it's like a game within a game engine within a myriad of... It's wild. Anyway, if you're unsure about whether it's for you, check out a trailer or a YouTube or video or something like that. But it is wacky and strange, and it's going to work on basically any platform out there and work well, I think. And I hope it doesn't go under the radar for people because it's really interesting. It's probably going to make our holiday gift guides. We'll see how that works. But as of right now, it's going to be one of the better releases in the later part of September here. It's releasing as of this recording on September 26th. I hope that you guys get a chance to check it out because it kind of blew my mind and I want to spend more time with it.
Combaticons! Transform! Brawl! Swindle! Blast off! Vortex! And onslaught!
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. Once again, I am here talking about something that Hasbro sent over to us from their Transformers Age of the Primes line, and I'm looking at the first Combaticon that will eventually form Bruticus. I'm looking at Vortex. Now, I love helicopter Transformers. I love things like Sandstorm. I think it was Shard from the Rock Lords, Whirl from Thrilling 30, which I really hope they do something with that figure at some point in the future. Hint, hint, Hasbro. But yeah, so in terms of this Age of the Primes Vortex, this is off to a sick start. Like, ridiculously, Vortex looks outstanding. In vehicle mode, he is easily one of the best looking helicopters currently available. In fact, my Vortex, I have him in vehicle mode and I have him resting on the deck of my Thrilling 30 Metroplex alongside another fantastic Transformers helicopter, which was the Studio Series Grindor and Blackout. So you might say I've got a thing for like helicopters, but still, no, seriously, this thing is really, really good. You get working rotors with it. He gets multiple guns. He gets like wrist blasters. He also gets a handheld weapon as well, and you can mount it however you want. If I did have one tiny complaint, it might be where you can place his chin guns. Maybe if they could sit a little bit more flush, that might be my only other thing. And maybe a little bit of the arm kibble, I think might be able to be fixed. But if this is the start of Bruticus, I can't wait to see what else is going to happen. Like the Transformers combiners that we've been getting pretty much in the last couple of years have all been fantastic. Like, I love Menasor. I think he's fantastic. I've got Moses Superion so far, and eventually I'm going to be talking about the Transformers Studio Series 86 Devastator, as I now have mine fully complete. So if Hasbro keeps going along this way with its combiners, I think this is going to be fantastic. The only thing I might say that might be a hiccup, and this is probably something more focused on the collector's market, is I hope they make these things really easy to find at retail. I know some of the distribution across Canada and the US has been a little troublesome of late with people trying to find parts of this, and I know Vortex was cited in Canada long before a lot of US people were able to get them at active retail. So look around at your favorite retailers. Make sure you're checking your local stores too, so your Walmarts, your Targets, your Walgreens, wherever. Or in Canada, Toys R Us, Walmart's been really good at getting these guys in, I found. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you pick up Vortex, you're probably getting one of the best deluxe classes right now, and you are not going to be disappointed with this. As soon you will be able to form the mighty Bruticus, and that's going to be outstanding. I'm really looking forward to it. Even if you don't get the rest of the Combaticons, this is a sick standalone deluxe, but trust me, you're going to want to form the big beefy Bruticus at some point.
Combaticons, merge into Bruticus! Bruticus angry. Bruticus devastator.
Alex, the producer here, and I'm here to talk about a couple of products from our friends over at Turtle Beach. That's right. We've actually talked about products in the past, and even ones in these series before, but I wanted to pair a couple things up that we have received over the last few weeks and have had time to finally really dig into, and that is the Atlas 200 headset and the Victrix, which, if you remember from back in the day, used to be under the PDP line, but now they're all sort of merged into one big happy family company. The Victrix Pro BFG Reloaded. We've talked about the Victrix Pro BFG controllers before on multiple platforms in the last year or so. And this, what we have here is sort of the revitalized, enhanced, quote-unquote better version of that. So I'll just sort of briefly give an overview of each. With the Atlas 200, you have a wired headset. We've talked about their wireless headsets in the past, and this is, branded to, look like, the PS5. It has like the logo right on there. And it comes in either black or white with blue accent for the white one, sort of match what your PS5 would be like. And what you have here is, it says it has Tempest 3D audio support for the PS5 consoles. I'll be honest with you, every headphone has that. If it's wired headphone, it's plugged into your controller, that's a feature on the system itself. I will say this is tuned pretty well for it, because that is a technology that's done on the software end. It's not something that is like, it's not like a direct decoding thing that has to do with like wireless headphone. Yes, that's a thing on Sony's official wireless headphones. They have a decoder that runs with their own special codec and yada, yada, yada. But one of the features that they have is anything that plugs in wired, they do a simulated effect that way. And I can say it's pretty darn good. And it's clear that the drivers in here are made to be able to handle it quite well. It is real lightweight. 280 grams. For our American friends, that's about half a pound. It's not too heavy on the head at all. And I've got a big noggin where, sometimes heavier headphones that are a little tight, they can really start to weigh on my head. Not the case here at all. The microphone is pretty good. It's not the best microphone I've ever heard, but it's also on a $60 MSRP package. It's one of the better ones, especially at that price point. It is quite clear hearing everything. As far as, its connection, it uses standard 3.5 millimeter, headphone jack for that. I think it's a quad pole, whatever the TRSS, I think it's the terminology for it. It does have really good ear cushions. They're calling it their patented Pro Specs dual foam. I call it comfortable. Is what I call it. It does have good cushions for the top part of your head too, as well, which is something that sometimes people will cheap out on. Not the case here. It's just really good. 50 millimeter drivers, which means you're going to have a pretty good frequency range. It's not going to have to be cranked as high to really push some high quality audio through it. It's solid. And also, big trick of the trade here for me is not just using it on the PlayStation itself. I use it, plugged it into my hi-fi stereo set, my good receiver, where I can really crank him and give him a good hear to all. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for everybody, because you can crank headphones pretty loud and damage your ears. Don't do that. But I can tell you this: you can crank them pretty loud if you've got them plugged into a proper amp without distortion. So it's pretty good. These are a pretty solid set overall, especially, in that sub $75 price point. And you're probably going to find them, maybe even on sale as we get closer to the holidays. Keep an eye out on our holiday gift guide, because we're probably going to include some stuff from Turtle Beach in there. Maybe keep your eye out on this. As far as the frequency response range, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz is in some of the best ranges you're going to find in 50 millimeter drivers in the sub audiophile category. So, they're no joke. They're pretty good. As far as what comes in the box, you get the headset and a quick start manual, because it is a wired solution where it's all connected together. That in itself is good. And again, it's something you can take with you on the go. I wish more and more portable devices still used, a headphone jack. But in my case, to test it out even on my phone, I just used a USB-C to headphone jack adapter, and I was able to use it just fine. And because it is a standard connector on there, I was able to actually make some phone calls through my phone using it that way, and it's perfectly fine. Good alternative there. Works pretty darn good. And even though it's not branded for it, because it's using the standard headphone jack, I was able to plug it into my Switch 2 and use it just fine there too. So, it's not going to be color coordinated or licensed, quote unquote, for that use, but it does have the versatility of being a traditional analog headset. So keep that in mind. It looks good. It's priced good. It's worth picking up. As for the Victrix Pro BFG Reloaded, I was a little curious as to what had changed, because to me at first glance, I was like, this looks pretty much like the controllers that we reviewed earlier. It comes in black or white with the carrying case and the replaceable pieces. It says this is the controller that you can flip the modules around, so you can have, the layout exactly how you want: symmetrical, asymmetrical, flipping over the controllers into a fight stick mode, that sort of stuff. Now, it does have the modules, and what has been changed here is you've got like full Hall effect technology included. The micro switches in the fighting stick mode actually feels, I don't know, ever so slightly better to me, if that makes any sense. Now, there are 5-stop Hall effect clutch triggers and hair trigger mode. So what they've done is they've sort of improved the triggers. The Hall effect aspect has been improved. You have slightly better micro switches on the buttons on the fighting mode. There's a bunch of interchangeable components that can change, like your D-pad styles, your analog stick lengths, that sort of stuff. Wired and wireless connectivity, 20 hours to charge the battery. I don't think it's different on paper as far as the battery charge for wireless mode. It felt like it was getting more out of the box than I remember with the, so that just might be efficiencies in their app. There is the Control Hub companion app for the PC, which you can use to do firmware updates if you need to. I always suggest checking it out the first time you do it. But also built-in 3.5mm audio jack, which supports the Sony 3D audio through that, which is great. And because you have the wired connectivity, it means that if you plug it in and you don't want to use the battery, you'll get not just, have it connecting the battery in that. If you plug it in through a USB cable directly into the PS5, you'll actually be able to control it as a wired controller for zero latency. And the biggest features here are the fact that it's got, anti-drift thumbsticks, and some of the ergonomics have been updated, and it's a pretty solid, reload. And I do recommend it. It's not the cheapest controller out there. You're looking at about $200, $209 or so MSRP in the US. But with the price of all like first party stuff going up, this is still a better option, I think, than in many cases a lot of the first party stuff, or especially some of the higher end, real expensive pro controllers that are out there. This is kind of a happy medium if you want a really cool, versatile controller that can like flip around to have multi uses for fighting games, for people that prefer having their controllers in symmetrical or asymmetrical. It's sort of a multi-purpose all-in-one. I do think it's worth it, and it also works on PC, so that's pretty solid. Probably worth checking out. Again, maybe even pair it with that Atlas 200 headset, and you've got yourself pretty cool gift ideas. Stay tuned for a holiday gift guide on that. But that's it. We're going to hopefully check out more from Turtle Beach soon, but as it stands, these are great going into the fall season. Worth checking out. Great controller, great headset.
At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person.
What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
Amen. Amen.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and we are talking about something we got sent from our friends over at Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. I'm looking at The White Lotus, the complete third season on DVD. This is part of the HBO Max series based upon the White Lotus television show. I will admit, this is something I haven't really had a chance to follow. I've heard through some friends of mine that it's okay, so I'm like, all right, well, I guess let's give this a whirl. So I sat down with my wife Blair, and we dove into this thing, and as the box says, same luxury, new reservations. So my wife is the one who primarily wrote this review, and I'll give you my impressions along the way as well. So as my wife says, this season features an ensemble cast of great actors, notably Leslie Bibb, Parker Posey, Scott Glenn, Sam Rockwell, love that guy, to name a few. Also returning are some actors from previous seasons. The series follows the lives of the staff and wealthy guests at a wellness resort in Thailand. The series follows the exploits of the guests and staff during a week at the fictional resort hotel chain called The White Lotus. The first season was filmed and set in Hawaii. The second season was in Sicily. And obviously now we're here in Thailand. This is something that I tried to get into with her. And according to me and my wife, it feels like not a lot really kind of happens. It's kind of like a bizarre, dark comedy with like a soap opera. This is so not my bag. And I feel really terrible because when I get a chance to review some of these series, I didn't like the other HBO series I got sent to, Succession. While I will admit there's some really funny bits in that show, that's a lot more my speed than this. And I really wonder, I feel like that Simpsons meme where it's Principal Skinner going, am I out of touch? No, it's the children that are wrong. And that's what I feel like this. Like, I don't get this. And I feel like I'm going to be the outside critic that just doesn't like this because of whatever. And that's whether I'm able to separate myself from the art. But this just isn't me. But from what I've had a chance to look around from other of my peers, a lot of people just don't like the weird pacing in this. And that's kind of what distracted me. And I'm not like the type of person where you have to jangle keys in front of my face to get my attention. But it just, I'm sorry, this just isn't my bag, and I tried really hard. That being said, there are some special features, but none of them are particularly deep or insightful. I mean, yay Thailand, I guess. I mean, it's really weird that they're offering this show on DVD. As far as I can tell, this is the only way to get this on a physical format. Why this isn't on Blu-ray kind of blows my mind, but I would imagine probably next year or something similar, we'll probably get like a box set of everything in Blu-ray in higher definition, especially when you're filming in a place like Thailand that really has that visual spark. That's what you want, because you really want to see those little details, and a place like that is so amazingly interesting for all the movies that have been filmed there, especially here on Twig. We just talked about Mortal Kombat in an upcoming episode, and that really pops. It's just such a visually interesting place. Anyway, side tangent. So Can I recommend The White Lotus, the complete third season? Well, if you like seasons 1 and 2, yeah, sure, you're going to finish this out. But I know for me, this is so not me, and I'm really sorry. So that's what I'm going to say. I would say this is for completionists only. However, if you do want to try this series, you can watch this series on HBO, or in Canada, you can watch this on Crave, or I think you can get this digitally through Apple TV as well.
To Thailand, and a week of new memories.
Those magnificent bastards! Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
All right, and that's going to do it for the show this week. We actually have plenty coming up as we enter the fall season with our regular scheduled programming. As I mentioned, Birdman and I are back. We're recording. We're actually going to have to record the day that the show comes out due to some scheduling. So because of that, we will not have our regular fall show at 7 a.m. Eastern time like we used to do. It'll be sometime mid-afternoon, I believe. But after that, we should be back to releasing every one of the flagship shows on Monday mornings, as well as having some other stuff to come out in between. As far as programming coming this week, we have the regular show, as mentioned. We also have a loose cannon on Weird Al coming. We have a bunch of other stuff in the can ready to go, and stuff that we're recording as well, but that's what's going to be coming early in the week, as well as Earth versus Soup. The episode coming up will be episode 275, Invisible Agent. That's from 1942. So look forward to that this week. We are already planning to some of our fall programming. We've got stuff in the mail that we're waiting on to talk about for review, getting some gift guide plans going. This is when the gaming season really picks up when it comes to larger games, and that's one of the reasons why this stuff has sort of been delayed, because I've had personally multiple games that are 50-hour games to go through, all sort of overlapping on each other, and it's only going to get crazier as we get into the holiday season. So we're trying to schedule all that out, figure everything out as it goes. But that's what we've got going on, at least in the next few days, up to a week or so. And we'll have plenty more to talk about later, as we, weirdly enough, are already planning to release our Halloween content. We've got a few things already ready to go. We've got a few things planned, and I'm sure that Birdman will share more of that over the next few weeks as we start entering our spooky season, or as Birdman likes it, pretty much his favorite time of the year. So that's going to do it. Thanks for listening. We're back. Talk to you guys very soon right here at ThisWeekInGeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at ThisWeekInGeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@ThisWeekInGeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.